Hello dear students of class 10th, welcome to geography class. I hope all of you are fit and fine. Students, in this video I shall be continuing with the fourth chapter of geography, that is agriculture. Students, in the previous video I explained you about the non-food crops that are grown in India, and in this video I am going to start with a new topic of lesson 4th, that is technological and institutional reforms. So in this topic I am going to explain you that what all institutional and technological reforms were brought in the field of agriculture in order to improve agriculture, in order to improve production, in order to improve the productivity of crops. See, in the first video itself, in the introduction video itself, I explained you the importance of agriculture in our life and our dependence on agriculture. I told you that we are directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture. How we are dependent? Because majority of the population is engaged in agriculture. And to be more precise, let me tell you that 60% of the population of India, they earn their livelihood from agriculture, or let me tell you that agriculture provides livelihood to 60% of the population of India. That means agriculture is very important. We are related, we are dependent on agriculture. So since we are greatly dependent on agriculture, so reforms must be brought in the field of agriculture or primary sector for more production. See, population is growing day by day, right? Population is increasing, and if population is increasing, then demand for food grains is also increasing, right? So demand is more, supply is less. And even though a majority of population is engaged in this field, still we are not able to get maximum output. Why we are not able to get maximum output? Because even today, yes, even today, most of the farmers, they are dependent on monsoon for irrigation. Even though several modern sources have come up, but still majority of farmers, they are dependent on monsoon for irrigation. And let me tell you that they are also dependent on the natural fertility of the soil. Yes, they are not using chemicals, they are not using fertilizers, because maybe they are very expensive, they are not able, or the farmers are not able to afford them. So we see that majority of the farmers, they are dependent on the natural fertility and monsoon. But with the natural fertility and monsoon, maximum output cannot be achieved. We cannot be very successful, right? Because we cannot completely depend on the natural fertility. Why? Because everything is polluted. I had already explained you in the previous chapter water resources regarding regarding water, that water is polluted, and as a result of which the crops, they also become because this water is used in agriculture purpose for irrigation, so the crops are also polluted, or they are not ideal, they are not fit for eating. So that is why we cannot be completely dependent on the natural fertility and monsoon. There has to be some technological as well as institutional reforms in the field of agriculture in the primary sector, since our demand is increasing, the population is increasing, so our demand is also increasing. So there is a dire need for institutional as well as technological reforms. See, we are developing, right? We are developing, so we need to connect, we need to link this primary sector with technology. We need to link the primary sector with institutions, so that more knowledge can be provided to farmers and they can achieve, they can produce optimum, and they can produce optimum crops, right? Productivity can be increased. So that is why there is a dire need to bring some institutional as well as technological reforms. And let me tell you that the government has definitely brought some of the institutional as well as technological reforms in order to boost, in order to uplift the agriculture sector, which I am going to explain you that what all reforms the government has brought in the field of agriculture. So let's start with the institutional reforms. See, there are several institutional reforms that are mentioned here. So I'm going to explain you one by one all the institutional reforms brought by government in the field of agriculture. Now students, let me come to the first point. So the first point or the first reform brought by the government was collectivization, consolidation of holdings, cooperation and abolition of zamindari. Now what is the meaning of collectivization? Collectivization means bringing together. See, I had explained you about the right of inheritance, that we are inheriting the land of our forefathers, right? I explained you about the land of or the right of inheritance, that we are getting the land from our father and our grandfather, and as a result of which the big plots of land, they are divided, they become small, they get reduced, the land holding, the size of land gets reduced because of division. So see, in this collectivization, so students, in this what happens, that land or the plots of land, they are joined. See, collectivization means to collect the land, to join the land. See, in the right of inheritance, what happens, the land is divided, and if the land will be divided, the size will be reduced. If the size of the land will be reduced, then the productivity will definitely be reduced. Definitely, large land holding will produce more and small land size or land holding will produce less. So that is why to ensure more production, lands were joined and collectivization programs were launched by the government. So I hope the first word is clear, the first term is clear, that what is collectivization. Then the second one is consolidation of holdings. This means to ensure the efficiency and production, the land holdings were consolidated. That means they were combined. This also means the same, that the land holding, the size of the land, the small lands, they were combined, they were joined, so that production can be more, so that in order to ensure efficiency and production, consolidation of holdings were done by the government. Then we have cooperation and abolition of zamindari. Now see, before independence, the zamindari system was there in India, yes, and in this what happened, the zamindars, the big and rich zamindars, they had big plots of land, and not only big plots of land, but they had several villages under their control. So what happened? So what happened? This created a disparity. Some people, some farmers, they had big plots of land, not only land, they had several villages under their control, but some farmers, they had very small plot of land or no land, they were landless, which created a disparity, as a result of which the gap increased in the economy. That means the rich became richer and the poor became poorer. So the gap increased. So in order to decrease the gap and in order to ensure equality, zamindari system was abolished. Zamindari system was removed, and all the big plots of land, they were divided. They were divided and they were distributed to people. So several acts came, several rules and regulations came in order to abolish the zamindari system, in order to ensure more production, in order to reduce the disparity between the rich and the poor, so that everybody has their plot of land. So several schemes and several rules and regulations were launched by or established by the government. So I hope the first point is clear to everybody regarding collectivization, consolidation of holding and corporation and abolition of zamindari. Now students, let's come to the next point. So next point is regarding land reform. See, land reform was the main focus of the first 5-year plan. Basically, the main focus of the government was to do land reform. So since the disparity was more between the rich farmers and the poor farmers, the rich farmers were very rich, they were very prosperous, but if I talk about the small farmers, the landless farmers, they were really very poor. So in order to decrease the disparity, several land reforms were launched, and this was the focus of the government in the first 5-year plan in order to ensure the growth of agriculture sector. In order to improve, in order to enhance and develop the agriculture sector, several land reforms were brought, and this was the main focus of the first 5-year plan. So I hope the second point is clear to everybody. Now let's move to the third point. So the third point is regarding provision. Cut this line. So now let's come to the third point. So the third point is regarding provision for crop insurance. See, the third point is provision for crop insurance against drought, flood, cyclone, fire and disease. See, the government took steps, the government took several steps, and the government brought several provisions so that the farmers incur minimum loss in case of drought, in case of fire, in case of any natural calamity. The government brought measures so that the farmers face minimum loss. See, natural calamities cannot be stopped, but measures can be taken so that loss is minimum. So that the farmers suffer less loss or minimum loss, the government made several provisions regarding crop insurance. For example, if there is a huge loss because of drought, then what will happen? Ultimately, the farmers will have to suffer, and this will actually increase the disparity. So in order to reduce that, several provisions were brought by the government. Several crop insurance schemes were brought by the government for the interest of the farmers. Now students, the next reform was establishment of Grameen banks and cooperative societies for providing loans at low rate of interest. See, the farmers, because of lack of awareness and proper documentation, the farmers, especially if I talk about the poor farmers, then they do not have proper and adequate documents, they do not have the collateral, right? So as a result of which they hesitate to take loans from formal sources. Rather, they are inclined towards the informal sources of taking loan. For example, money lenders, traders, their relatives, neighbors, and as a result of which they fall into debt trap if they are not able to repay back the loan, because the rate of interest that is charged by informal sector or the informal sources of credit is very high, and as a result of which they are not able to repay back the loan, and ultimately they fall into debt trap. See, this term debt trap you will be studying in your economics also. Okay, so this is basically the economics term debt trap which you will be studying there. So they fall into debt trap. So in order to save the farmers from this situation, from the exploitation of so in order to save the farmers from the exploitation of money lenders and traders, Grameen banks and cooperative societies were established so that they could be given loan at low rate of interest, and very easily they can go to the Grameen banks and they can approach the cooperative societies in order to get loan at low rate of interest. So this was one reform that was brought by the government. So I hope that this point is clear to everybody. Now the next point, several other schemes were also introduced by the government of India, like Kisan Credit Card, KCC, then Personal Accident Insurance Scheme, that is PAIS, then Minimum Support Price, MSP. See, this was minimum support price was done so that the farmers are not exploited by the middlemen, right? Because in this what happened, the government fixed the price of the food grain so that they do not incur loss. So that means that fixed price had to be given to the farmers, means at that price only they will sell their food grains, so that they do not incur loss. So in the interest of farmers, the government had launched several schemes, the government had established several institutions so that the farmer can avail the benefit, so that the farmer could avail the benefits and can become prosperous, and ultimately the agriculture sector would develop and become prosperous. Okay, so these were the institutional reforms that were brought in order to tackle the challenge or tackle the situation, in order to tackle, cut this line, remove this line. So students, these were the institutional reforms that were brought by the government of India in order to develop the agriculture sector, in order to help the agriculture sector to grow and prosper. So I hope that all the institutional reforms are clear to everybody. Now students, we will be moving to the technological reforms. Now students, let me explain you about the technological reforms. See, in the 1960s and 70s, Green Revolution and White Revolution came. See, Green Revolution was for the production of food grains, and White Revolution, also called as Operation Flood, was to ensure more production of milk. So basically, let me talk about Green Revolution. So in Green Revolution, which was a very successful revolution, in this HYV seeds were used, high yield variety of seeds were used, which were quite expensive, and modern ways of farming were there. That means modern inputs were used, like fertilizers, chemicals, pesticides, insecticides. Then modern source of irrigation was also used, like canals, tube wells, they were used, and as a result of which this was very successful revolution. The productivity of food grains, they increased to several times. So this was a successful measure. Then special weather bulletins and agricultural programs for farmers were introduced on television and radio. Why these programs were there? Why these programs were introduced on television and radio? In order to provide awareness and knowledge regarding farming, regarding agriculture, regarding production to farmers, so that they could be equipped with the latest knowledge. In order to provide them knowledge regarding farming, special bulletins, special weather bulletins and agricultural programs, they were introduced by the government. Because see, radio and television, these are very cheap source of information. From there anybody can get information. So that is why these programs, they were introduced. These special programs were run on TV and radio. Also students, subsidy on agriculture products. The government gave subsidy on products. The government gave subsidy on products if proper technology was used. The government said, okay, that I will give you subsidy, I will give you this particular amount if you use this technology. If the farmers used technology, then the government gave them subsidy. So these were the technological reforms in the field of agriculture that were brought by the government of India. So I hope the technological and institutional reforms are clear to everybody. Students, in the next video I will be explaining you about Bhudan In the next video, students, I'll be explaining you about Bhudan Gramdan movement. Till then, please revise your lessons well, be happy, study properly, and thank you so much. Stay safe.